Hey guys, it's Sweet Moon Bubble. How are you? I just want to do a quick vlog today on uh some tips on getting started with producing music, because I know there have been some of you who's actually I got like lots and lots of requests about like how do I produce and what are some tips and what kind of equipment do I use, and yeah, I might give a more detailed video on what equipment I use, but the thing is I actually just use a snowball mic at the moment, and I bought these Audio Technica Audio Technica M20X earphones. They were if you want cheap earphones that sound pretty like professional, like I think those, after doing research, those were the cheapest earphones that I could actually like actually bought I could get. So yeah. So before I'm gonna give you some tips, I just want to like share a little bit of my story on how I started to get learning production, and or like even started like developing some production skills. So I first started learning production in my school, because I go to a music school last year, and I'm already, as my main major, I'm already doing like a lot of like demo producing, but I chose an extra subject, and that subject was specifically dealing with music production, because I feel like I struggle a lot, and struggled a lot with production compared to other people in my class. I felt really inferior, my production skills compared to, I know it's not good to compare, but I felt really inferior, partially because I just felt really inferior, or I just don't want to, think back to that. So I chose like a production class, and I didn't tell you guys, but I struggled, and I knew that it was my weakness. Strange how you thought like I knew how to produce, but it was my weakness. I was probably one of the worst students in the class for production. I didn't pass, like I think I got a 30 out of 100 for my very first production assignment. So you really know how bad I was with producing music. I felt really discouraged. I know it's very sad to share this story, but that was what happened, and I started to want to change and get better. So I decided to spend a little more time on learning on the things I didn't know, and but overall I think I got a 52 for my production class. This is so embarrassing, but even after like years and years of writing notes on production, in addition, I even taking a production class, I still got a 52. So you can imagine how much I struggled with it. So I'm gonna give you a few tips. Let me get some water. I'm just gonna give you a few main tips that like my very slow brain can give you. particularly with mixing music, because production, I think production, a lot of people get it. For me it was hard, but like I want to give just a very brief overview on what I think is some good advice for you to think about when you start producing music. So firstly, it's the volume. And whenever you like produce, like choose the sounds you want and put them into a song, volume is so difficult to hear. And volume is so important as well, because when you have different layers, and most songs there are many layers, and a lot of times you have to adjust the volume, and there's like the big volumes and the little volumes. And with earphones, if you get like professional earphones, it's easy to hear when something is loud or when something is soft. But after a few hearings, I realized that your ear can only like listen to production layers for a number of times before your ears start to ring. So when that happens, a really good tip is to unplug your headphones. And when you unplug them, stand like 1 meter or 2 meters back. This was like actually like recommended by my teacher. And then play the song, and then you'll be able to hear so much clearer on like how loud exactly are the different layers on the volume. I'm currently struggling a lot with volume. The second thing is compression. As I said in my previous vlogs, I struggled a lot with compression, and based on my understanding what compression is, it's kind of just like like a sandwich. When you're listening to a song, it's like your ears can only like hold so much sound. If you go to like a huge concert, why your ears won't feel good after like an hour or two, because the sandwich is big, the frequency is very big. So when you compress the sound, it's like you're squishing the sandwich smaller, so that when you listen to the sound, it goes into your ear, it goes in your ear better. So compression is very important. And in a lot of DAWs, the compression function is definitely available, and it's very helpful. When your voice is too much, too boomy or too high pitched, like I think compression is a good thing to use over anything, and it's not too difficult to understand as well. And then the next thing I would suggest when you're producing is to use intuition. And what I mean about intuition is try not to overthink about like, oh, what stuff am I gonna use, what sounds am I gonna choose. Obviously, what you can do is use intuition, that feeling side of your brain, to just like choose which sounds you want at the beginning. So like they can be completely different from your end product. Like as long as you just get something down, you can subtract from it. Like you might find like there's 1 or 2 sounds that don't fit in it, and then you can subtract and replace it with other sounds. This saves time, and this also like works better than like trying to get every single detail down, and then in the end you're not going to be able to get something down. And what you want is not frustration over that. What you want is to like quickly get something down, because if you're thinking of doing music in the future, there's going to be a lot of like music making that you're going to have to do. And intuition is so important. Next thing is passive hearing. And passive hearing, I also learned that at school as well. And passive hearing means to really observe the songs that you listen to. It's more than listening to a song and dancing to it. It's more like, oh, I noticed that the bass is very boomy, or I noticed that she uses hand claps or uses shakers in this section, and you need to understand, these synths make the whole vibe more bright, or like more dim, or like these this dryness makes the whole mood more dimmed down. So like passive hearing is kind of like breaking apart the sandwich, and it's very important when you're firstly producing music, because you can learn. It's like you're just extracting these different ideas from these different places, and it's gonna make your music making sound much more better, because you have more ideas, more inspiration. That's what you need as a music maker. The next thing is to not to overchange too much. And what I mean is that when you're putting like everything down in your song, try not to be me, and especially with like vocals, like or this specific place where that doesn't sound right. Try not to like agonize over it if it does not work out. Like if you try to make a change to it and it doesn't work out. A really good tip that I would suggest is to type it down. Keep it down in journal, and like mark it down on the song, and like come back to it 3-4 days later, or like 4 or 5 days, and if 3-4 days later you try to change it and it still doesn't sound good, then wait for another 3-4 days before doing it again. And this really helps, because overchanging sometimes can ruin I've learned that overchanging can ruin a song. And yeah, so apart from that, I think this is the main tips that I want to give you. At the end, when you finished your song, listen to it from different things, like different perspectives. So what I mean is, some people are on their phones, some people are on their computers, some people are on their speakers. So try like maybe without your earphones on your computer, and then with your earphones on your computer, and then with your earphones on your phone, and then without your earphones on your phone. Because like when you release music, there's gonna be different people listening from different perspectives, and then like you want to try to get it so that it sounds good on every device. And I didn't really realize that until now, because these the Apple earphones, with the wires, they actually sound different from earpods, because earpods actually do sound a bit different from Apple earphones. I think Apple earphones sound more fuller, but earpods are a bit like blurrier. And headsets are pretty good because they're more 3D and like they sound good, but they're kind of more mushier, like spread apart rather than like in a whole thing. So and if you're listening through a speaker, sometimes a speaker can make the sound more lo-fi because the speaker might not have that high of a frequency, and or I do have like a Bose speaker at home, and whenever I play a song through the Bose speaker, the whole table would rattle. So it's like, it would sound like, so I would like struggle to hear like what are the top instruments. I can't really hear what's going on because it's so boomy. I mean, if you're in a party, that's why speakers are so good. So yeah, that's like basically the most important things I want to suggest if you're getting started with music making. And let me know if you have any more questions related to music making, and I'll try to reply to you or make a video about it. See you.